And welcome to another late night episode of Beerfield Fantasy Football. I am your host at Hot BFF. As always, that's Hot BFF with two P's. Kris Hopper. We decided we're going back to first names here for a little bit. As always, joined by my esteemed co-host, Dan Thury.
What's up, guys? At Thury BFF with two F's. First name basis seems very, very official.
Yep.
We're official now.
I think we are official. Speaking officially, you can officially catch us on the Football Garbage Time podcast from last night. A little bit of fun.
That was a lot of fun. There's a lot of shooting from the hip as we have fun, interview style, checking boxes and building a narrative.
I always like checking boxes interview style fun, though, because then I don't have to worry about driving the show. And I feel like I can go on somebody else's show and give takes that I've probably given about 30 times on this show and not feel bad about it, whereas I feel bad giving the same takes on this show over and over again.
I agree.
But anyway, you can check that out. Find the link on their Twitter, our Twitter, probably iTunes. I don't really know, honestly. But Blog Talk Radio, but Football Garbage Time. Look them up, check them out, check out the show. At Beerfield FF is where you can follow us. Beerfield Fantasy Football on YouTube, which is where you should really follow us, in addition to Twitter at Beerfield FF again. Hey, winner of the week was me, and I was too lazy to come up with a punishment for Dan. So it felt like it didn't deserve a punishment anyway, since it was by virtue of a Corey Davis injury. So, yeah, we just, we're going to call it a tie for all intents and purposes.
I like it. That's fair.
So, it was a weird one. I mean, you got a win out of a David Johnson that was technically injured, but they didn't call it injured, and it was just a mess. So a lot of things that were splitting hairs to get a winner there, and a week that was that close. So, Anyway, gonna go ahead and jump right into this. We got your normal Wednesday checking boxes episode. Let's go ahead and talk about what is fueling Beerfield.
What's fueling Beerfield?
Oh, holy shit, that's harsh. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Weinsteiner's Corbinian. Per the internet, this is a full-bodied dark Doppelbock, light brown foam. You'll get hints of dark fruits, some plum, coffee, nuts, and chocolate. So a lot of going on with this beer. I was very excited that I picked it up. So I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on it a little bit later.
All right, and I am drinking, going back barrel aged for this one because I need to get to a liquor store. It's a 2017 Ballast Point High West barrel aged Victory at Sea, an imperial porter with coffee and vanilla flavors, aged in High West bourbon and rye barrels. So,
wow,
it's a little hot.
I'm gonna be asking some questions about that one when we.
Okay, sounds good.
What I know about it.
Okay, I'll be sure to tell you when we get there.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the news. Only 2 news items.
News.
Actually.
Laugh out loud news of the
right?
week.
I was just thinking this.
Yeah, these aren't real news items. Well, they're real news items, but I wish they weren't. The Jets confirmed Adam Gase and his entire coaching staff will be back next year because, the offense is Robbie Anderson's been non-existent. Sam Darnold's regressed. Le'Veon Bell's been kind of, sort of, almost useless. Chris Herndon's been hurt. Jets have not taken a step in the right direction, so let's bring back the head coach and the entire staff.
But Sam Darnold said Adam Gase is the greatest coach he's ever had.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jets fans, you're gonna have to endure Adam Gase for another year.
Yeah, I guess you could try to blame the mono or the offensive line or Bell being banged up or what, but really the team is just broke. It's broken.
I kind of want to. So the real, I guess, to give an actual take on this, I'm interested to see what they do with the draft this year with a lot of great offensive skill positions and just how deep it is this year. Receiver, I mean, tight end isn't deep, but and they don't really. I don't know if they need one. Depends what they do with Chris Herndon, but I'm interested to see what they do and build around with Sam Darnold. It'll just bring in a aging running back.
Get a line, get a wide receiver one, because I think Robbie Anderson's and we know Jamison Crowder are both better as complementary pieces.
There is some very good new age wide receiver ones that'll be in this draft.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that point.
I am very pumped to see.
All right, and the other one, Kyle Shanahan said Dante Pettis will, quote, continue to see fewer opportunities as he doesn't take advantage of the ones that he's given. So
I think he went further on to say that the only reason he's still on the team is because he has a lot of he sees a lot in him, and like he wants him to like beat out the inconsistencies that he.
Yeah, and it's such a weird thing because that's how it's been spun, and I believe it. But saying that to the media is a real thing because, I mean, if I'm reading this from the outside looking in, that can't do a lot for. I don't know Dante Pettis, obviously, on a personal level, but are you trying to motivate him? Because I'd imagine is a player who's in his second year in the league coming off of what, from the outside looking in, was a really good first season that you'd be trying to pump him up a bit and like help the confidence, not hurt it, because confidence issues are a real thing. And we saw the talent last year, so I mean, is it lack of confidence? Has Kyle Shanahan failed Dante Pettis?
I mean, maybe Dante Pettis was just a flash in a pan. I mean, he did this without Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe it's the offense. Maybe the offense isn't fit for him to succeed in. A lot of people talked about Deebo Samuel as kind of being of a similar mold to Dante Pettis, and
yeah,
they didn't. I mean, it's interesting to me how someone with a lot of upside coming into this year with the QB upgrade and not drafting a true number one receiver could fall this far down.
Marquise Goodwin's been completely unused, and other than that, you've just gotten a lot of inconsistency out of these wide receivers anyway. Deebo Samuel's had a couple good games. Emmanuel Sanders had one, and I think Goodwin had one earlier in the year, but you really haven't gotten any consistent performances out of the wide receivers on this team anyway. It's been George Kittle, the running backs, and defense.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they go with this skill set moving into the draft and into the offseason, because they need a true number one receiver to kind of help, I guess, complete the receiving core. And I guess we'll see who gets on the chopping block and who's not. We got a question.
All right, go.
This is from Jack. Jack is a returning and often listener, viewer, and loves to ask us the questions. He states, I own David Johnson. Please help. I asked him to pick up Brian Hill, or I told him go pick up Brian Hill for this week because it's a good matchup. He's already picked up. Then he asked me, could I trade David Johnson for whatever I can? That's the long-winded answer. Or question.
The long-winded question. Hold on.
The long-winded question.
Yeah, if you can, I guess. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't know if you can, but if you can, yeah. I don't. David Johnson's so banged up. I think this is a lost season. Honestly,
yeah, I agree.
And yeah, Arizona's schedule is not great down the stretch. So yeah, if you can do it, I don't know what you're going to be able to do, but sure.
You got to use them as a throw-in piece. You can't trade them straight up for somebody. You won't get any sort of value out of that. You got to use them as a throw-in piece. Whether you want to mask him in a 2-for-3 or in a 3-for-2 deal, or maybe try to find someone who's willing. Try to find a contender in your league, a guy who's got the best record or second best record or whatever. They can maybe sit on David Johnson to see whatever happens. Try to pry away, try to pry away a guy who's got a decent schedule for the next few weeks. Hopefully, you can offset the points you're losing from David Johnson.
Right. All right, let's get to hangovers.
hangovers.
All right, let's go ahead and start with Matt Breida. His sidelined Wednesday. Is going to miss 1 to 2 weeks after a re-aggravated ankle sprain, so just more on Tevin Coleman. Also, last time Breida was out, you saw Jeffrey Wilson get a little bit and Raheem Mostert. So one of those guys will step up, but more on Coleman.
You're gonna see like Jeffrey Wilson pry away touchdowns.
Yep.
From Tevin Coleman now.
Never fails.
Never fails.
The Jets have placed Chris Herndon on IR, ending his season, which good.
Bridge to IR.
Yeah.
Not bridge to Herndon, bridge to IR.
Yeah. No, he should have been. There's no reason to bring him back after he hasn't been able to get healthy after. Just chalk it up and move on. Yeah. Emmanuel Sanders sidelined Wednesday. He's going to be a game-time decision with a rib injury. George Kittle's hopeful with a knee injury. So more just Niners brokenness.
Yeah, it sounds like Sanders was, I guess, in quote, this is what I saw on Twitter, he was in a lot of pain. And he may be a true game-time decision. Someone I would maybe try to stray away from. I know he's got a really good matchup against the Cardinals, but
Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, like
Dante Pettis.
Dante. Who else is alive there?
Kendrick Bourne, apparently.
Who's the backup to George Kittle?
Garrett Selleck.
I think there's another one too.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There's like multiple names, but either way, if you own Sanders, just be very wary that even if he plays, this could be limited snaps. I won't call it a decoy because I don't think there's a decoy for him, but just be wary of it.
Yep. D.D. Westbrook resumed practicing. So, yay. We're not going to talk about the Jaguars offense more. We've done that plenty in previous weeks. Will Fuller, limited participant in Wednesday's practice. We talked about him at length on last Friday's episode, what his return means. Robbie Anderson and Demaryius Thomas, both limited in practice on Wednesday. Both are likely to play, however. Next couple, don't pay too much attention to. These are the same injuries I played with last weekend, but Marquise Brown limited on Wednesday. He is expected to play. Amari Cooper limited on Wednesday as well. So I don't think there's any risk of either of those guys not going. I think it's just rest as they try to heal up from things that they've been dealing with.
Yeah, as long as there's no random setback that we hear about, they should be playing.
Yep. Interestingly, Jordan Howard was limited in Wednesday's practice coming off of the bye week, so keep an eye on that.
Yeah, especially coming after the Alshon Jeffrey news. I mean, this is a really difficult matchup against the Patriots, but
yeah,
you may be seeing some younger players being lined for some extra snaps, potential touches.
Yep, Jeffrey's day-to-day with an ankle injury, by the way. David Montgomery limited with an ankle injury. I mean, there's no worry about him not playing at the moment. Adam Thielen remains sidelined on Wednesday. He'll watch him as the week progresses. He probably won't play, though.
Yeah, because they got their bye week next week. I don't expect.
Yep, James Conner, good to go tomorrow night against the Browns. Tyler Lockett's expected to be ready for Week 12 following a 2-day hospital stay with a leg contusion, some heavy swelling. So,
John McCoy?
I guess.
He's overnight stay in the hospital and
2 days.
Yeah, that's 2 days in the hospital.
It is their bye week was opportune for him, I think. But
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, thought is he'll be back. Matthew Stafford sat out Wednesday's practice. He's going to be a game-time decision with his back injury, same thing as last week.
I don't expect him to play.
T.Y. Hilton still not practicing with a calf injury. Keep an eye on that, but he hasn't been particularly close to playing the last 2 weeks.
He might be done until late in the season.
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett practiced in full, and he's going to start, which was the news on Monday. If he practices in full on Wednesday, he'll start. So
love it.
Austin Hooper is going to miss about a month with a sprained MCL.
Ooh, that's
week 15.
Week 15, huh? Man, that's going to be tough for a lot of those fringe teams.
You're going to fill in for Austin Hooper to get you through. Then you got him for semifinals and finals.
You got to find a will and a way.
Yep.
That's interesting. I wonder how many people are going to drop in week 14.
Yep.
They're trying to find a piece to win the first round of the playoffs.
Yep. Jacob Hollister's a name to know when Seattle's back off their bye. He's caught 3 touchdowns and been used like Will Dissly. And we'll give you a couple streams for this week if you're the Austin Hooper owner here in a little bit.
Yep.
John Ross designated to return from IR by the Bengals. Yay. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I guess it kills Auden Tate.
Aw.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's the Bengals. Everything's dead there besides Mixon.
Everything. All right. Let's go ahead and hit top shelf, rail, start sits, streams. Check some boxes.
Top shelf or rail?
All right, go ahead and start. There's at least 2 guys you have here that I looked at and then looked up and said, damn it, because you already had them written down.
Sorry.
You're good.
Marquise Brown, if he plays, which you expect him to do against the Houston defense, and especially the secondary, has given up a bunch of points to receivers. I believe they are 30th in the league and giving up wide receiver points on the season. They've given up 5 touchdowns over the past 4 weeks. You got to see what the Ravens can do when everything comes together in a difficult matchup. Now they get one of the better matchups of the year for them. Brown is still kind of a boom bust guy, but this is the weeks you want to play him in these boom matchups. So throw him out there.
Yep. All right, I've got Tyler Boyd against Oakland this week. So, yeah, it seems oof, but the Raiders have held just one team without a double-digit wide receiver. That was the Chargers last week. Boyd's top 10 in the league in targets this season without much to show for it, but he's been over 50 yards the last 3 weeks. That was against Baltimore, the Rams, and Jacksonville. So, not exactly a soft matchup. He went for 123-1 against Arizona, which has truly been his only plus matchup since week 1. So, he had Seattle in week 1 and went for like 60 yards and something like that. I mean, it was a good floor day. So, if anything, you should get some floor from Tyler Boyd because he's getting volume. But I think that you're going to get some upside out of him this week as well.
I do like it, and people aren't going to be excited to play him. So,
yep.
Throw him out there with confidence, I think.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you got Brian Hill, who I love this matchup.
Should have had him on the Garbage Time podcast for having a difficult schedule down the stretch.
That wasn't the case with Carolina.
No, this one is definitely not. They are the worst defense against running backs over the past 4 weeks. We've been giving up over 40 points per game to the running back position. This includes 8 rushing touchdowns and a couple of receiving touchdowns. 10 total touchdowns over the past 4 games is smash play. Brian Hill should be in line to see literally every single running back touch. You might see a little bit of Quadri Olsen in there, but Hill's got the size and the skill set to kind of be your pseudo 3-down back for this game. So I think this is a great play this week.
All right, I got Terry McLaurin against the Jets. I'm going with some not popular picks here. Targets have been steady at 6 the last 2 weeks. He's going up against the Jets team that's been torched by the likes of Darius Slayton and Preston Williams and Chris Conley and Philip Dorsett and all those big name wide receivers that you expect to torch people. So I do think that Terry McLaurin has some upside this week. He's getting more targets than anybody else in Washington, but if you're looking for upside or a difference maker, go ahead and start him. We've seen Haskins improve every week, so probably worth it. Maybe we'll see.
It's a good matchup, and he's
you can tell I'm oozing confidence about that one.
He's the most talented receiver on this roster, for whatever that's worth.
All right, yeah, Cortland Sutton against Minnesota.
We know how bad Minnesota's defense has been this year against receivers. Third over the past 4 weeks, giving up 8 receiving touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards. Yes, that was against the Cowboys this past week. So we know the Broncos aren't the Cowboys, but Sutton over his past 4 games, he's had 6 or more targets in every game. 3 of them he's had 8. The move from Flacco to Allen didn't seem to hurt him against the Browns in Week 9. We went for 5 for 56 and a touchdown. You may not get a massive week of actual produce yards, but the chances of scoring a touchdown in this game seem to be pretty high. As if you can contain the Vikings pass rush, you can pretty much throw on them.
Yep. All right. Looking at David Montgomery. I forgot who I was even trying to start. He's my third start of the week. Since week 2, where the Rams have allowed double-digit rushing performances to all but 2 backs as Devonta Freeman and Jalen Samuels. Montgomery saw 9 targets over the last 2 weeks for a 0 spot last week. But the Bears should have to pass in this one. And he's seen an uptick somewhat in touches. He also has 3 touchdowns over his last 3 weeks. So expect a bounce back, running back 2 type of performance, but I think you can safely play him and expect that running back 2 floor to where he's not going to kill you and should have some upside. The Rams haven't exactly allowed a blow-up game to a running back, but they are giving up some nice floor. So make sure you have your expectations set properly, but I think he's a pretty safe play.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to sits, you're looking Kenny Golladay against Dallas, who has been, Awuzie has been surprisingly good.
Yeah, it's either Awuzie or Brian Jones, so pick your poison because both of them have been fantastic this year. Potentially no Matthew Stafford makes this even worse for them. You saw what the Dallas secondary did to the Vikings receivers, mainly Stephon Diggs, and it was also a really nice adjustment to a underthrown ball. It was a pretty bad week for them. They've only given up 1 touchdown in the past 4 weeks, and just 22 receptions during that span as well. This may be a pretty ugly game, and I don't see much for if Stafford doesn't play. It may not even matter. I don't see a lot of production from the Lions on offense.
All right, and I'm going to look at Robert Woods as a sit. He's drawing Kyle Fuller, which is not great. The one thing I've noticed about the Rams is the wide receivers don't switch sides that often. And Kupp is almost exclusively a slot guy. And, the Bears cornerbacks don't switch sides either, which means Woods should be drawing Kyle Fuller most of the time. Goff's been terrible the last couple games, and the Bears have allowed no 15-point wide receivers all season, just 2 over 10 in the last 4 weeks. The struggling Rams offense against the Bears defense, it has gotten worse against the run, but better against the pass, not in the sense of turnovers, but in the sense of not giving up a ton of yardage to wideouts. And part of that could be game script as well because they're never ahead. Robert Woods is not somebody that I'm looking at this week.
That game to me just
it screams ugly.
It screams like low scoring, super close field goals, and maybe a touchdown or 2 if you're lucky.
So naturally, it's going to be like, a 60-point take the over, and
so naturally
a bunch of
Goff
fantasy
and
performers
are they're gonna emulate what we saw from Goff and Mahomes last year.
Right.
Matchup.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna get.
Yep.
All right, you got Ronald Jones against New Orleans.
Smash play last week for Ronald Jones is you got to see some of the receiving upside that people have been preaching forever. Not so good this week though. New Orleans, the same has it really been over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. That it's a stout run defense, a good offense now that with Drew Brees back and healthy that can push the tempo to make running the football a bit harder. While it was good to see Jones, get up and actually, produce in the receiving game, I don't know if we're going to see that in back-to-back weeks. I think he's only done it a couple of times where he's gone over 3 or 4 receptions in the game since college. So not a lot of backup for him to actually, produce in multiple weeks. So there may be some floor if they decide to go back to that well. But in terms of on-ground production floor, I'm not buying it this week. Saints have only given up 1 total touchdown over the past 4 weeks here, and I'm seeing it here from.
Yeah, speaking of people I'm not seeing it from this week, Kirk Cousins, he's been good as of late. This is more to do with Denver and not as much to do with Cousins. Denver's not allowed a quarterback over 20 points all season, and that includes just 1 multi-touchdown game and no games allowing over a 300-yard passer. The defense is tough, and I'd expect this game ends up pretty low scoring given Denver's offensive ineptitude and their defensive prowess, if you will.
Yeah.
We know Cousins can be knocked off of his game, and Denver is not giving up crap to quarterbacks, so steer away from Cousins this week.
Yeah, I'm making that same.
All right, you're looking at Alshon Jeffrey, who's got a bum ankle and a terrible matchup.
If he doesn't play, then this will be Carson Wentz. But if he does, we'll keep it there. Just because I wrote this before knowing, of the news, and now that I know, I don't really want to keep flip flopping. But Jeffrey's matchup as a whole is just terrible. The Patriots have given up just one total touchdown this year to a wide receiver, and it hasn't gotten much better over the past 4 weeks. No touchdowns given up, only 272 yards and 7 receptions during that same span. He may get some volume with the other banged up pieces, but if he is hurt, we've seen what a banged up Alshon Jeffrey is, and that's someone who barely plays. He's a snaps fluctuate. He's known to have aches and strains that can keep him out for drives at a time. So there's no way I'm playing Jeffrey.
Right. All right. Yeah, I'm looking at Kareem Hunt. Sorry, I lost my place. So Kareem Hunt, despite 9 targets and calls to start him because of 9 targets, his upside's still a little bit hampered because Nick Chubb's there. And Pittsburgh has allowed the second fewest running back receptions in the league over the last 5 weeks and no running back touchdowns over that same time frame. Limited touches against limited efficiency against a defense that's really good at stopping the way you're being used. Probably not the best idea to start them. It's my simple math equation for today.
I'm not feeling really good. There's no one in Cleveland that I feel excited to play.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
I almost put Nick Chubb here, but I feel like most people are going to play him
I don't
regardless
think
because
you
of
can
bye
set
weeks.
Nick Chubb right now anyway. He's been a lock for
exactly.
yardage every week at minimum. So, all right, let's go ahead and hit a beer review now, and then we'll get into streams and specials and call it good.
Ooh, do it.
Beer review.
All right, go ahead. What do you think of your wine stuffing things?
Weinsteiner Corbinian. It's a very it's a bit sweet. You can definitely tell based on the color. It's a bit darker amber ale, more on that brown side. You get some of the English brownness to it, where it's a bit dry on certain sips, but a lot of that fluffy and creamy light flavor really does stick out, especially on the mouth. It really shows itself there. Smell wise, it doesn't really give off much there, but I'm assuming they've been brewing this beer for fucking God knows how long, and that it's from Germany. So it's definitely worth a try. It was rated, I forgot what the website was. I saw it on Beer Advocate as one of the 19 best beers of 2019. So that was another reason why I was really excited to try it. I don't get much of the dark fruit, but I do get a bit of the toffee. There's a lot of toffee to it. I do get a little bit of the chocolate to it too. This is a very solid beer. I don't normally drink Doppelbocks at all, and this is definitely one that I would recommend trying just if you haven't had it yet.
Yeah. All right. Wait. Hold on. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can't hear myself, so that was a little weird. No, I probably did. Anyway, I had Ballast Point, High West, Victory at Sea, Barrel Aged Pale Porter, coffee, flavors, and High West rye barrels. So this beer, bourbon comes out, and I think because it's rye, it lends a little bit more spice, if you will, to it, which can come off as heat, but it's not really heat. Kind of that spice that you get out of it. It's got a nice chocolate backbone to it after sitting for that long. Vanilla is kind of subdued, but it's definitely there. Comes across as more like an oak, like a wine versus extract into a beer. And I think the roastiness from the porter, one, it blends well with the coffee. Barely taste the coffee there, but two, gives it a nice backbone to try to balance it out. Something that I don't know how to say it. It's good, and it's got a mild yet complex flavor palette, if you will. It doesn't it's not a flavor bomb like some other beers are. It's very, very, everything's kind of except for the rye.
So it's almost there because it's from 17, correct?
Correct.
Which doesn't surprise me that there's no coffee because I'm pretty sure the vanilla and the coffee would be the two things that would fall off.
Normally.
Would be my guess for when you're aging a beer for almost 2 years or for 2 years.
Right.
So
And really, the vanilla tends to come out a little more. I've noticed that's because it's
Okay.
natural.
sure.
But I think the rye jumps up. And I think that kind of
Interesting.
tempers the.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and get into some weekly specials, and you call it. We'll call it.
Weekly specials.
All right, let's go ahead and talk Derek Carr versus Cincinnati, which is a matchup I like, and I actually picked wanted to, couldn't.
Yeah, so gone are the days of Derek Carr not being a streaming worthy quarterback. Cincinnati is also just bad against quarterbacks in general. Almost 26 points per game they've given up the past 4 weeks, 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception, nearly 1,000 yards passing in total there. And Carr himself has been really on fire since I guess since the Vikings game. Only 1 interception. He's won a touchdown in every game since week 7. And the sacks have gone down a bit too. They took a few last week, but that was against the Chargers, so it's not surprising. He's got a chance to not only give you a decent 4 game without the interceptions there, and a decent chance to give you a couple touchdowns. But if Cincinnati can put any resemblance of an offense out there and keep the game, keep the Raiders passing, then I think there's a good opportunity for Carr to be one that throws for 250 and 3 this week.
All right. Yep. I can definitely see that and agree with that and all that fun stuff that involves that. So, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. There we go. I figured out my problem.
Perfect.
All right. On-air troubleshooting that y'all didn't get to hear. All right. Gonna go back to the well, Jimmy Garoppolo for me. Didn't pan out so well last week thanks to defense, but he's got Arizona, which he's had arguably his best game against them earlier in the year. And he's going to be missing Matt Breida. Arizona's bad. He went for 317 and 4 touchdowns. So if you're looking for a quarterback that can produce with a good matchup, Jimmy Garoppolo is it. He's only had, I think, 2 games that you really feel good about, but his best one of the season by far, his most fantasy relevant one was against Arizona. So it ain't broke. All right. You're looking at Tyler Eifert.
Yeah. So again, streaming landscapes are always going to be brutal for tight ends, especially at this point in the year. But if you just lost Austin Hooper, you're not looking for just you, of course, would love production from a tight end spot in terms of getting that 4 or 5 catches for 50 yards and a potential touchdown. You got a matchup this week against the Raiders that have given up the second most touchdowns to tight ends this season at 7. They've given up 4 touchdowns over the past 4 games. While the tick in stat production for Eifert went down when they moved to Ryan Finley last week against Baltimore, he was able to find the end zone. Raiders' offense is definitely not as bad as people think. We just talked about Derek Carr. So again, since he can move the football against this good but not good defense that Oakland has, there might be some opportunity for Eifert to find chances to catch a touchdown in the red zone.
Yep, and Eifert came out of it last week too with Finley, as you mentioned. So
he had 4 targets, couple catches for 20 yards against the Rams. Though he had 9 targets, 6 catches for 74. So we know from Eifert when he's healthy, he can give you a nice floor week. We'll see if with another week of work with Finley can help him be more of a focal point in the passing game.
Yeah. All right, I'm looking at TJ Hawkinson against Dallas. They've allowed 4 touchdowns to position over the last 5 weeks, 13 targets over 2 weeks for Hawkinson, and right around 50 yards. He should have some floor to him with that type of target volume going his way and yardage. But with Dallas giving up touchdowns to the tight end position and over 200 yards in that 5-week span, right around that 50-yard average, you should get a back end tight end one day out of Hawk. He's coming back around after his injury earlier in the year, and being utilized more in the passing game. Plus, it's barren out there.
Yeah.
All right, you got Dallas against Detroit for defense.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that I don't like Detroit at all this week. I think when you get a guy like Hawk who can give you that safety blanket for a backup QB, I think Hawk is fine. But as the game overall, I think Dallas is going to clamp down. I think this game is going to be gross. I would not be surprised if there's turnovers from Detroit's side, and Dallas just smashes this week in a potentially top 3 a DSC finish.
All right. I've got the Jets against Washington, and there's no first off, the Jets are the defense 12. They had 18 points last time out against the Washington NFL team. They've had no negative games this year, and they're playing Washington. So
they're playing Dwayne Haskins after coming off of a big game against the Giants. So
yeah, exactly. So ride the wave. Sit, you call it, and call it. You've got a trip to make in the morning.
Oh yeah,
You call it.
All right, you got DJ Moore.
Yeah, 6K in FanDuel is going to be an extremely popular play on at least cash lineups. I don't know what his projected ownership is going to be for those bigger GPP pools there, but I expect him at that price to be a popular build if you go a little bit heavy on running backs. He's had multiple multiple double-digit target weeks and 3 over this past 4 games, and he had 9 in week 8 against San Francisco. So the volume is starting to be there. Kyle Allen and him have developed this nice chemistry. Touchdowns haven't been there. He hasn't scored one since week 3. But with the volume being there, he's gone over 100 yards in those 2 games. I'm shocked that he's still only 6K, especially in a very plus matchup against the Falcons, where he may not score a lot in the second half if the Panthers are up a lot. But he's definitely someone that's going to, I think, pay back on his volume. I would not be surprised if he's, 4 or 5 times what his salary is. So I love DJ Moore this week, especially in cash games.
Yep. Mine's Tyler Boyd. Back up about 10 to 15 minutes if you want to hear why I like Tyler Boyd. He's 5,200 on DraftKings. He gets Oakland. All right, you got Dallas -3 at Detroit. That's seriously all the analysis I'm going to give you on that.
That's fine, because my analysis on Dallas and Detroit is go back and listen to the 2 segments of me saying that I think Detroit's offense is garbage this week. Dallas is going to beat him by more than 3 points.
All right, I've got Chicago +6.5 against the Rams on the road. And you can probably go back and listen to the fact where we talked about how we think this game's going to go. It's either going to be excessively ugly, and I expect it to be like, I don't even know, 17-14, and Bears to cover 6.5, or expect it to be a shootout, in which case Bears probably cover 6.5. So, and there's nothing that makes me think the Bears are going to get caught up in a shootout, but I don't think this is going to be a steamwalk given the Rams' offenses, or a cakewalk given the Rams' offensive struggles. Steamwalk, I just invented that. Given the Rams' offensive struggles and the Bears' defensive proficiency, especially in the pass game. And never mind the fact that the Rams are missing 3 starters on the offensive line that was already bad. So, yeah, I think Bears defense is going to come to play. I think that Goff has been turnover prone. I think the Bears cover this.
I don't even know what the over-under is, but this game's going under
40.
There is no fucking way this game is going to be a shootout.
Yeah, this game is the over-under on this is 40.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 17-13. Like, again, 2 touchdowns and a bunch of field goals.
Yeah,
and a few
I
field goals.
just have a hard time taking the under at 40.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
but
so
I would still. Anyways, we talked too much about this game.
Yep. And we've talked too much for checking boxes. That's all we got for you today. Be sure to tune in Sunday with me. If nobody's here, it'll last like 5 minutes. But YouTube, Beerfield Fantasy Football, we'll give you all the ins and outs and all that fun stuff right around 11 o'clock. I am at Hot BFF. He is at 30 BFF. He'll be in Minnesota. So he'll be back on Monday, though, I believe.
Yep, I'll be here Monday. I will probably be very hungover Sunday morning as we recover from the wedding that we're going to. But I will. I may not be on air, but I will definitely be in the chat. So you fine listeners out there, please, for all that is sacred and holy, just come in and say hi. Listen to some weather updates, some news.
Oh, on Sunday? Yeah, sorry.
On Sunday,
We
just ask a question for us. We like questions.
We do like questions. I like questions. I like interaction. Makes everything better. Thank
It
you,
does.
thank you, Jack, for your question. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, me. I'll catch you on Sunday, and we'll catch you back on Monday, which is becoming the more entertaining episode because
Easily.
we actually get to have conversations about stuff.
Yep.
See you then.
See you guys.
Better remember how to do the outro. 264 episodes, and I still don't have this shit figured out.
Welcome to Beer Focus.
No, this is over. It's not welcome. 264 episodes, and I still can't get an outro.